Welcome to the Java Cafe, Java fam.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. I just read a message from one of my guests. No, ma'am, it's not. We created that. But good morning, everybody. Good morning. Today is Tuesday, October 8th, 2024, and you are here in the Java Cafe this morning. I'm excited to bring our guests in this morning. They are no guests to the Java, no stranger rather, to the Java Cafe. I believe all but our student has been on before, at least one time or another. I have had the opportunity to work with the Freedom House. Oh, Jesus, it's over a decade. I won't say 2 decades, but very familiar with them from their time. Actually, I remember performing poems and pieces, as my grandmother used to say, at the old Freedom House back in the day. And so I'm very familiar with their work and what they're doing. Their former ED, their current ED, and a lot of the staff there. One thing I can say about this program, they are very consistent and sustainable with employing young people and not only following them through their entrance to college, but actually sticking with them and supporting them after college. And so no one can tell it like they can. And so I'm getting ready to bring in our guest. Kevin, I'm going to bring you on screen first. Since you're our student, we want to honor you. Then I want to bring in our queens, who is Ashley, and also our ED, Charmaine Arthur, and then Malcolm. I'll just bring you last because, two of us brothers up here, well, with Kevin as well. Kevin, we're going to discuss some of the business soon about you working with Java with Jimmy. Hi, Nicola, who's probably listening in the back. After his time and after what he's supposed to do with the Freedom House, Charmaine, we'll make sure. But, at the event there, I mentioned that we were hiring and Kevin reached out very professionally and I seen him running around with his camera. Anyway, that's not why we're here today. Well, kind of a little bit, because the Freedom House has the ability to really empower and show young people their value, not only through education, but just being a positive contributor to society. And so I'll shut up. And in the order of who's on my screen, I'm going to ask all of you to introduce yourself, state how long you've been involved with the Freedom House, and then describe your dealings with the Freedom House in one word. So, Kevin, first time on, I'm going to put you on the spot. Name, how long you've been dealing with the Freedom House, and describe your dealings with the Freedom House and Miss Charmaine in one word.
All right, so my name is Kevin Williams. I think I've been with Freedom House I think this is my 4th year now. And then I would say my relationship with Freedom House in one word. I would probably say resourceful.
Resourceful. Okay. Charmaine was in the background okay, what's he going to say? All right. Ashley, who is not a stranger to the Java Cafe, please introduce yourself. Let us know how long you've been with the Freedom House. And Kevin, thank you. Describe your relationship. I said dealings. Describe your relationship with the Freedom House. And Ashley, I think, you can give a little context because your years don't indicate the levels at which that you've been there. So you can go a little, minimally into that as well. Welcome.
Sure. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. So I'm Ashley Harton-Powell. I'm currently the Director of High School Programs and Partnerships at Freedom House.
Wait a minute. Hold on. You got a hyphen?
I do.
You got married, Ashley?
No, that's mom's last name and dad's last name.
All right. Sorry. I know I've been around for a while and did I miss it? All right. Go ahead. Let's start with her.
Powell, but it's both Harton-Powell. And so, I've been at Freedom House. It's I think I'm in my 9th year. I've been telling people it's been 10 years, but I'm going into my 10th year. I first started out as a Mass Promise Fellow through Northeastern University and served 2 years at Freedom House. And after that, I was hired full-time and worked as a push high school success coach at the Burke. And then I think 3 years after that is when I was able to receive this promotion as Director of High School Programs. So had a couple of different hats while I've been here, connecting to a lot of wonderful people. In one word, and this was difficult, but I would say connector. I just think about, all of the different people that I'm connected to and the ways that I build the connections. And so I think that sums up my position here.
Definitely. And Brother Malcolm, Tell us, say good morning to the folks. Similar to Ashley, I know you've had different levels of relationships um, with the Freedom House. And so please introduce yourself. Tell us how long you've been in relationship with the Freedom House and describe that relationship in one word, sir.
All right. I'm a funny looking guy.
What?
My name is Malcolm Thomas. I've been with Freedom House for over 10 years now. And I'm the manager of career development here, where I manage a gap year program, which is called Push to Start. One word, I would say is harmony.
It. Now,
Yeah.
you would come up with the word harmony because in addition to what Malcolm does at the Freedom House, he also plays keys. And so you would say harmony. I'm not surprised, brother. All right, certainly. Last and not least, the queen herself, who was multitasking over here, commenting to everybody on YouTube and here in present with us.
Okay.
Charmaine, say good morning and greet the people.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. What's the question again, sir?
You've had three people.
Listen, let me tell you something. I'm a visual learner, so normally I need to write things down. So even though I hear it repeatedly, I just need to hear it again.
All right, we'll make sure that me and Charmaine are going to have fun on this episode. So Charmaine, say good morning. Then tell us your tenure and your different roles at Freedom House, the years, and then also describe your relationship with the Freedom House in one word.
Okay. Charmaine, author. I have been here for 16 years. I always connect that to when I walked through the doors in 2009 February. My daughter was 3 months old. She is going to be 16 in December. She is officially a Freedom House scholar. And I always connect those two. There were two major things for me. Her being a baby, and I never forget the day that I started. It was the day, it's bittersweet, right? It was the day that I found out my mom had cancer, right? So you start a new job, you get bad news, and you start a new opportunity with Gail Snowden. So that day was bittersweet. One word, I would just say legacy.
Absolutely, legacy. And Charmaine, I just want to hold space for a second. As we know, this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. We had the Ellie Fund on with us yesterday, and so I just want to hold space and acknowledge that. And anyone that is also dealing either with family member or themselves, go back and check out yesterday's episode. There are a lot of resources that are available to you. And so I would like to go a different way. Charmaine, traditionally, I would ask you, give us the history in the Freedom House and whatnot. But I want to go back to Kevin because Kevin's word was resourceful. And so, Kevin, if you don't mind, can I ask you as a active student, why did you say resourceful? And then Charmaine will come back to you and Malcolm and Ashley and just talk about your word, legacy, and what you're doing. And folks, one of the main reasons I have Freedom House here with me today, that on this Thursday evening, they're going to celebrate 75 years of being in existence. And there are some names in this city that you may or may not be surprised that have matriculated through the program there at Freedom House. And so, Kevin, why did you pick the word resourceful?
So even like from my first year with Freedom House, it was the COVID year. And so we were all online and on Zoom. And so during that time, there weren't like too many like jobs available during the school year. So even just like being my first year, like on Zoom, that was a really good resource. And then when I first got here, I was really like quiet at first, but now I've been able to like kind of sort of find my voice, and like I sort of opened up out of my shell a lot. And then even with like all the people connected to Freedom House, like I've been able to do a project with the MBA Foundation. I was able to work with the Reckonings team with Northeastern, and we had Liberty Mutual come through a few times. Like there's a lot of different resources that I've been able to get into, and a bunch of different people that I've been able to get in contact with. And then, so yeah.
Absolutely. Now, Charmaine, I'm going to do something still a little bit different because you have Ashley and Malcolm there. And I wanted to hear from their perspective, the legacy that Charmaine talked about, Freedom House. Kevin talks about the resources. You two are sort of right, or even on the screen, right in the middle, being former students. Charmaine's the executive director. Ashley, I'll ask you first. Malcolm's word was harmony. What was your word?
Connector.
Connector. So based on what Kevin said and you all being there, can you give a little bit of your experience, give a little bit of the history from what you know? Malcolm, will come to you, and then we'll bring it home to Charmaine to close it out and really talk about the 75-year legacy of higher education. It's definitely, I'm thinking of a lot of people, Charmaine, that we know that have went through this program, and I don't think people have the full concept of what the Freedom House does. So Ashley, from your perspective, give us a little bit of the history based on sort of your experience.
Yeah, so it's when Kevin talks about that time during COVID and we were all virtual, I think that it was interesting how we were able to adapt and be flexible. We literally had to take a whole 6, 7 week program during the summer and put it virtually, put it on Zoom for over 100 students. And then during the school year, also producing an after school program for students virtually, trying to keep them engaged and making sure that we're still pumping out high level content. And I think over the years, what I have seen, not only myself do, but what I felt was so natural in this space is that we are always tapped into everything that's happening. It's natural to be current with the times and kind of seeing the trends and what's happening. But at the same time, while we were keeping up with that, we were also kind of just taking a look at what's happening with ourselves and with our immediate students. Myself and Malcolm, we have been very hands-on and we served as coaches working directly with students for several years. And then now being in positions where we have a bit of a bird's eye view, it gives us more capacity to be able to make some awesome changes. And so when I think of the word connector, I think about all of the partnerships and the connections that we've made over the time here. Charmaine has been really good with connecting us to different people. I think back to when I was a fellow with Mass Promise Fellowship. One thing that she instilled in me is find professional development opportunities. Whatever it is that you're looking to plug into, find it, send it to me, and go. Not only that, there were times when I was able to attend meetings on her behalf, and it didn't feel like she was just sending me to fill a spot, but it was intentional. I can tell that it was intentional. And to this day, there are people who I have been able to connect with and have personal and professional conversations just by showing up in a space. And so that's why I would use that word.
Absolutely. Malcolm, your word was harmony. And you as well. And Charmaine, I know you're going to bring it home to sort of the history, and we're really, the history is kind of happening right here in real time. We're seeing an example of it. So Malcolm, your word was harmony. Harmony and history of the Freedom House. What would you say to that?
I would definitely say where everything works together. Different things work together to produce something, to produce things, to produce things that are pleasing, to produce things that people need. And I would say I'm a transplant from Texas that came here, and I was drawn to this organization first from the website, and I just saw people who look like me. Um, yeah, but from working with the organization, with there being different programs from when I started here, there were 3 different programs, but they all worked kind of in different areas, so they weren't really working together. But it was kind of natural that that would definitely happen in the building. Over time, even especially through COVID and after COVID, I noticed that the programming within this organization, harmony is the word. Yeah, I could say so much, but I only have so much time. But definitely, the Gap Year program, which is an organization that we just started immediately after COVID, is something that basically seems the Can't get my words.
You're
What was
good.
the question again? What was the question again?
Yeah, you've been around Charmaine a long time.
No. You know what happened? I got a text message and it kind of hit me. I'm gonna be honest. I got a text message and it kind of
Okay.
hit me a little hard just now.
Is
But I'm good. I'm
Malcolm?
good. What was the?
Now, you know, we move in the mental health space, and depending on that text message, if you need to drop out or whatever, if it's something family or whatever, let us know.
Oh
And
no. I'm good. It just threw me off a little bit. What was the
okay.
question again? Yep, I'm back.
The question was basically was, and we're going to throw it to Charmaine to really
Yep.
get the historical context. I said, you know, as we're talking to Kevin and Ashley talked about her connector and you talked about harmony, we're seeing the impact of the history like right in real time as you all are talking about your histories within the
Yeah.
Freedom House. And so, Charmaine, please bring it home. And I just want to correct because Malcolm is a whole mother's board in here. And so Malcolm did not say it was anything majorly disturbing. He will use the prayers, but I'm
good. It
I
just
don't
threw
need to
me
go
off.
all in because Charmaine, you know, the mother's board will have Malcolm up on the altar in white sheet and oil virtually. So let's bring it back. Charmaine, the history you talked about again, this bittersweet experience of your first day. The bitter, of course, being, you know, with the diagnosis of your mom, but the sweet part being working with her historian and someone who established a program in the city of Boston, primary for Black and brown young people to matriculate through college. Give us a little bit more of that history and sort of a synopsis of the last 75 years.
I mean, you know, you said something that kind of brings it together, right? Impact. When we think about legacy, we think about impact. And we heard Kevin, we heard Malcolm, we heard Ashley. That's impact. If we're watching the comments, we're seeing Michelle and a number of people who have walked the floors, whether it was 14 Crawford or 5 Crawford, of this building and laid down roots and had experiences from the Chip Grenages to the Kai Grants and Chris Grants and Lori Nelsons, like Freedom, the alumni pool of professionals and sheroes and heroes right here in the city of Boston that this organization has positioned, have supported, have lifted up. It's powerful. You know, 75 years. I could speak to the 16 years, but even when I hear 75 years, I get emotional because we're talking about a institution that sits on Warren Street. Um, when we look at the history on this strip alone, there were many organizations, Women's Inc. and Robert Louis Lee Lewis had a program that the building was named after, Roxbury Multi-Service Center. There were a number of programs on this strip that the doors are no longer open, that have impacted communities, that have impacted me. I went to Boston Tech. I knew what the auditorium was at 14 Crawford Street, where the fashion shows and the teen parties happened, and the christenings and anything that the community needed. Freedom House was the hub. So when you think about the last 4 years, as Kevin referenced, coming out of COVID, so many doors were closed, that budgets were bigger than Freedom House. And to still be standing here on the shoulders of Otto and Muriel and those that came through this door, the Mel Kings and the Melnia Cass, and just all the leaders that came through these doors, to be standing on that 75 years later. That's powerful. It's emotional for me and my team, my colleagues, my crew. They know I cry. They already know. Bottom line, even new staff. That was one of the first things Katrina said in a meeting before she transitioned out. Let me let y'all know right now, Charmaine cries. So y'all gonna have to get accustomed to that. But it is powerful to have an organization like Freedom House led by Black women, led by Black men, still standing in the community, supporting young people, high school and college, and families. That's powerful. 75 years of service that we are still able to do what we do. And not just talk about, Ashley mentioned trends, but we also move according to what we are actually seeing happening in real time in the schools and the young people that are coming through our doors, the mental health needs that we now provide. Malcolm referenced the gap year program, where we realized that after COVID and that transition, when we looked at numbers, like 50% of our Black and brown young men were not enrolling in college because of post-secondary opportunities, because of the impact of COVID. We had to respond to that, hence a gap year. And around education, James, how people look at gap year, there's a lot of shame attached to that. And we had to disrupt that narrative, even with a program like that, where we're still responding to the needs of our young people. So although we work on the core of the history and what was founded, we're also responding in real time in 2024, what we're seeing with our young people. And
Kevin, let me ask you real quick. Charmaine knows the most history, has been around the longest. Malcolm and Ashley have been there and came through the program. I'm going to ask you a very honest question. In this time of, availability of the internet and all this other stuff, programs like the Freedom House, do young people still need that support and guidance 75 years later? Is it still needed?
Of course, just because because for the 75th Artifact Project, I was interviewing a bunch of the Freedom House alumni and all the other scholars and like from everybody who's experienced with Freedom House. And it just kind of showed me that even like the original goals that I set were like some of the goals that people had all the way back when Freedom House was like just starting. And so just having that, like having places like Freedom House to help mold you and help like build you and push you towards like the right direction, it's just so important because it really does take a village, and Freedom House is definitely a part of my village.
Malcolm, how has the village over the none of us is 75 over the years that you've been there, how has the history that Charmaine talks about, the history that you're making, the impact of the Freedom House on your life, how has the history impacted your personal and professional growth development?
I will go back to the word resourceful, resources. The funny thing is I've gotten access to a lot of different opportunities outside of Freedom House through Freedom House, not just within. So that's pretty interesting. One way that it's impacted me is I love reading. Like I love reading, especially when it comes to history. Seeing how much of an influence Freedom House was historically within the last 25 years, not just in the Dorchester Roxbury area, but also within Boston, whole Boston Metro, and even further. Like everything was in Boston, of course. So when looking at the history, especially the location, the geographic location, over the times, the fact that this building, that this organization still exists, it says a lot. And I guess to me, being in the building, being amongst a diverse group of people and that staff, and that's also the students and the community that we work with, is very impactful. Changes my perspective on things, on life, on everything. So I would say that's how it's affected me.
Charmaine, in the context of Ashley, Kevin, Malcolm, you talked about the shift of needing to adapt during COVID, needing to adapt after COVID. I don't think things will ever be the same, and in some respects that's not a bad thing. What is Freedom House, or how is Freedom House handling some of the impact of COVID beyond on the students? Investments aren't the same as they used to be. Grants aren't as readily available because everybody's surviving, and where there was 6 people applying for something, now there's 15 and whatnot. How are you working to ensure that Freedom House is another 75 years where we won't be here, but somewhere and somebody holding a little thing in their hand 75 years from now, and they're celebrating the 150th, and they're doing something a little different, celebrating this in tech. How are you ensuring that Freedom House is going to stick around for another 75 years?
So for us, we have a really strategic team at Freedom House. We have diversified our funding portfolio. We've expanded out on partnership and resources, building new relationships, looking at new stakeholders and their investment. Look, I'm on assignment at Freedom House. My goal before I walk out this door is $5 million budget. I'm saying that out loud because I'm believing that the investors are going to come to invest in the lives of our young people and this institution. And we are responding to those relationships, those partnerships, those platforms as they put out. And also too, I mean, yeah, it gets frustrating when you look around and you see the foundations and the philanthropic opportunities and folks, folks, and sometimes your vision and your mission doesn't align with what they're putting out. We keep moving forward. We look at our mission and vision from a larger scale and not pigeonhole ourselves, and at the same time making a commitment not to run after dollars, not to change who we are at the core of the work that we do. We've grown in the last 2 years, financially stable, growing and expanding. Even how we are working on our business plan. Sometimes a lot of organizations, they put out these amazing strategic plans and business plans, but they end up in somebody's server, usually the CEO or the ED server, and it's never a fluent document that people are working from. We're working with an amazing consultant, Roosevelt Smith, who has over 30 years of experience in this field and is very different in his lens and view and how you build out, expand, build capacity, and sustain for another 75 years. So we're taking risks, James. We're also taking risks, right? Where we're going after opportunities and resources that push us out of our comfort zone. Mental health. Mental health is a huge, very needed platform right now. When I sit and I hear the millions of dollars that are rolling into the state of Massachusetts alone, and I recognize that a lot of times relationships get folks the funding that they need. Sometimes I'm gonna say something that's true. Folks can get a little rub their tail feather a little bit, but sometimes it's not even about the truthness, the truth of the work, the realness of the work that folks are really doing, because everything looks good on paper. But when you put it into play, sometimes that's not what's really happening. We know that relationships are also key to funding, growth, is expansion, and we're very intentional about our relationship building, and we're also still connected to a core history of Freedom House. It's amazing to still have the support of Gail Snowden, who is the daughter of Otto and Muriel Snowden. Maybe in another state, but still very much connected to the mission and the vision and the future of this organization. And along with those relationships, come partners. Even Katrina Shaw, who was the CEO for 10 years at Freedom House, now works for an organization that has funded the work of Freedom House and is still an ally and an advocate of the work. So those relationships are key for us, and also new relationship, JP Morgan Chase and Eversource and Noble, relationships, partnerships that I don't think we thought about several years ago that now we need to really expand on and step out of our comfort zone.
I mean, one of the other ways, and I don't know how many years, the 75 years of Freedom House, and we're going to we're going to be together with you on Thursday to celebrate these 75 years. And that's one of the things, we're here to talk about the Champions of Freedom dinner, but I needed the folks to understand how the championship was achieved. And so we're going to talk about that right now. And for folks that are in the comments, I want to encourage you to go after the show, but you can do it now, especially if you're going to make a donation or buy tickets. The link is right there in the comments, hyperlinked to the event that is taking place on this Thursday evening. And it's the Champions of Freedom dinner. This is my second year being involved. I'll be honest, not at the level that I would like to be, but I kept it very real with Charmaine before she claps me a little bit. But this is where you can go to get the information for the Champions of Freedom dinner. If you look right here, even if you can't attend, or let me do this before y'all start fussing at me about you can't see. All right. So here is the information that donate. Oh, there's the other one. I was going to say the donate button disappeared, but it's going to take place at the Omni Parker House this Thursday evening from 6 to 10. And you can go get tickets. If you're not able to attend and you want to buy tickets, you can donate them. Reach out to me or the Freedom House if you want to give them to someone, or if you just want to donate, you can do that as well. But Charmaine, I want to ask you specifically about, there's the dinner and everything.
Not Omni, sir.
It's not Omni Seaport.
Oh, that's the name of it? Omni Seaport.
No, listen, you said one seat. I'm going. You go ahead and talk, and I'm gonna go in the back.
It's all right. No, you sent the link. It's up there. It's Seaport. It is.
Oh, it's Seaport. Okay, well, yes. That one. But we want to give the proper. We don't want to give credit to somebody that ain't doing it, and then we want to give credit to someone else that is doing it. And so, what can folks look forward to? And I'm gonna I'm gonna go to Kevin. Just from you being around there, I'm sure you're involved. From your perspective, what can folks look forward to on Thursday evening?
So they could look forward to me actually taking a few pictures for them, because I'm going to be a part of the photography team with Nick. And I've been helping out with a few of the decorations. And so there will be a really nice candle on the tables.
Kevin, I really thought you were just like going to go in and say it's going to be da-da-da-da. So I'll take the pictures and I help with the decorations. Ashley, from your perspective, what can folks look forward to on Thursday?
Listen, it's always a good time. You can look forward to some wonderful music. You can look forward to some laughs. You can look forward to seeing students, staff, board members, everybody that has been connected or touched by this organization. And so, look forward to an evening that you don't want to miss and that you will never forget and probably talk about for the rest of the year.
Malcolm, now, are you on keys this year?
Yep.
What can we look for besides you being on keys and doing them little extra fills and whatnot that make me look at you like you crazy with the crazy notes? What can we look forward to for the at the Champions of Freedom dinner this Thursday? Tell us from a musical perspective.
Well, Ashley just said it all. Music is something different every year. Look forward to the unexpected in a good way. Definitely networking. The right people are always in the building. And a lot of music, talking, and good food.
Definitely. And this, I just want to keep bringing this up right here. This little thing, tickets, donate, tickets, donate, tickets, donate. All right. We heard from Ashley. We heard from Malcolm. We heard from Kevin about Thursday night. All right. Now, Charmaine, from your perspective, what's going on Thursday night?
So before I jump into that, let me just clarify something. My brother is so humble in many ways.
Malcolm,
I'm talking about you, James.
You're not going to do this.
Going back. No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not.
Because I have the ability to. So Kevin, Ashley, and Malcolm. No, sir.
Okay.
I'm going to pay for. I know I'm going to pay for this at some point. Go ahead, Charmaine.
But no. Let me say, I know that you said, that you have been on our host committee for the last 2 years, and you have really not been able to do as much as you would like to do. Let me let you know, everyone that's watching, James is family to Freedom House. He has given his time, his wisdom to our young people, to our program for the last 16 years that I've been here. Every time I call him, he shows up. He has taught our young people about policy, legislation, public speaking, you name it, whatever skill and gift that he walks in, he has brought through these doors for our young people. So, my brother right now really playing small when it comes to his role at Freedom House. He just is not on payroll. That's all it is. He's not on payroll, but we know that when we reach out and call James is going to show up. Let me just say, not for Charmaine, not for Ash, not for Malcolm. He gonna show up for Kevin and Natalia and Alex and Iverson and Patrick, the young people first that come through these doors. So I wanted to say that. Now, what we're gonna see on Thursday, we are gonna see the opportunity to connect with Project Reach alumni in the room, celebrate them, their legacy at Freedom House. We are going to get to interact with past CEOs. There's going to be like 3 in the room. Katrina Shaw, Gail Snowden, Ricardo Neal. There's going to be amazing music. Angelina and the Unit, which Malcolm will be on keyboard.
Angelina singing. Okay, all right, fine. She going to take her shoes off?
I know she took her shoes off last year, but
did she take her shoes off last year?
I don't remember. I don't remember.
Well, I've been in the building when she's taking them off.
We'll get an opportunity. Folks will get an opportunity to network with our young people at this event. Learn about our one of our young people in particular, her journey coming to this country and where she is now in her life. So it's there's going to be interaction, food, music, great auction items. Last year, we had some amazing auction items, and this year, we have double of what we had last year. So we're looking forward to the networking, the laughter, the music, the food, the engagement, and just the support of what we do and who we are. It is important to have our young people at events like this, just for them to get accustomed to dressing up and networking and shaking hands and having conversations, not to be on a stage and we trying to, like it's an auction. You know how that can go. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about having our young people in the room to experience these events. So they're accustomed to them, and it's nothing new as they're stepping into new opportunities. So I just encourage people to join us on Thursday.
Absolutely. And Charmaine, just one correction. There's some people in my life when they call, and as much as, things have changed over the couple of years, I do my best. So it is for you. It is for Malcolm. It is for Ashley and Kevin. And when you said Iverson, and I think Iverson is now, I'm terrible with names, but I've literally remember 2-3 years back of working with young people and seeing them just mature. And at one point they've been in a workshop with me. I come back the next year, they're leading it, doing the introduction and whatnot. And so the matriculation that you all give, the process of matriculation brings so many transferable skills to the young people that go through Freedom House. And so, Charmaine, before we go, I want to make sure that folks know they can go in the comments and get tickets. They can go in the comments and donate. But let's just mention a couple of names off the top of my head. Pastor, soon to be, or I call him the Bishop Matt Thompson. You mentioned Chip. You mentioned Kaidi. You mentioned Chris. Who are some of the other names that have come through the Freedom House that we know here in this city?
Sarita Joyce, Lori Britton,
Lori Nelson.
Lori Nelson. Oh my God. Jesus. I can't.
Wait a minute.
Let me go look at the project.
No, y'all, hold on. Y'all 75 years old, but did you say Jesus went through the Freedom House too?
You ain't got no sense. Listen, tons. I'm like meeting people and they're like, oh, I used to go to Freedom House when I was this age in the old auditorium. So Chris Sumner came through these doors. Juanita Wade. Back in the day, those that know
I'm sorry, the former Secretary of Health and Human Juanita Wade went through Freedom House?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely. As a matter of fact, I got my one of my first strong pieces of wisdom about leadership from Juanita Wade at a keynote that she was doing at Freedom House in the auditorium.
I can only imagine
that. I've taken that with me every single day when I interview people, when I look at new candidates. I walk with that every single day.
So what is that? You can't introduce it and then not tell us.
It was just something really basic, right? I remember I had the opportunity. She was the keynote speaker for an event that we had at Freedom House. And Juanita Wade was, I believe, correct me, James, the chief of staff for Mayor Menino.
She was the chief of HHS.
Okay.
Health and Human Services, which oversaw BCYF at that time, the Elderly Commission, Boston Public Health Commission,
Yes.
Well, worked with. Yep.
Risa Thompson. Thank you, Michelle, for hitting all those names.
Oh, Michelle's in the comments putting all the
she's naming them. Yes,
remembers her cohort.
She absolutely. And I remember I was given the opportunity to introduce Juanita Wade. She was a keynote, and I read her resume. And one of the things she said.
Hold on. Pastor Cooper.
Yes.
Freedom.
Yes. Yes. Listen. I met Chuck Turner and Charles Yancey in these doors. Did advocacy work with Charles Yancey and Chuck Turner on the Hill, coming through these doors. Sonia Chang Diaz at Freedom House on the Hill, coming through these doors. But what I was saying about Juanita is I gave this whole resume read of hers, and she thanked me and she thanked the audience, but then she reminded us of something powerful. And it's so simple, but it's true, right? That you have these amazing resumes and it looks amazing on paper, but it's really about how people show up in life. We can create whatever we want to create on paper, but a lot of times what you see in the flesh don't always align with what's on paper, and not to get caught up in what you see on somebody's resume. She said to look deeper, always look deeper. And I carry that with me, and the team will tell you, people tell me they're like, you are the most difficult person when it comes to interviews. I am, because I discern.
I was getting ready, Charmaine. I was getting ready to say, because all right, because then Charmaine's sitting there asking questions. Her little discernment is like, I need to holler at you for about 2 seconds.
So yes, I remember that to this day. And can I just say this real quick? I'm gonna put Ash on the spot. When Ash came through these doors, you said 7. Where you at? 9? I don't even remember.
She's completed her 9th year and walking into her 10th. That's the year of 10 is the year of reset.
Okay. Sorry. And you speaking, and she about to reset too. But when she came through these doors 9 years ago, when we interview in a team, like 5-6 people at the table. And Ashley came in as applying for a Mass Promise Fellow position, and she was the least experienced and qualified. And I mean qualification by not having experience with the demographic that we work with. She worked with elementary, I believe, coming in, and she wasn't very familiar as much with the work and the least qualified. Least, I'm gonna say it, Ash, and I said that was like she got the least experience and the least qualified, but she was the best candidate. And I think like even I don't even before the interview, I was like, yeah, we ain't got to interview nobody else. This is the person, and we did interview everybody, other people, to be fair. But walking in, that is an example of a discernment, but also looking deeper at someone who's sitting across the table from you. And even today, we align whoever comes through the doors to want to work for the organization, partnerships. They it's important for them to align with our values, and our values are on our website, but it's important for folks to align with the values of Freedom House. And that's education, leadership, integrity, accountability, positive intent, legacy, progress, persistence. Those things are key for us when people want to come through these doors, whether it's to work on a team or work with our young people. So,
Charmaine, I just want to cite, I'm looking at the website, and just this in 23, you all had 8,000 hours for programming hours, 361 young people employed, 1,633 students served, and that's just in 23. So just kind of on average, multiply that. And I do stuff in real time. Just on average, let's just, multiply that times, things have picked up the teenage population. So let's say on average, let's drop down to an average about maybe 4,800 hours per year. And that's decreasing the potential impact times 75. That comes out to 360,000 hours on average that over the past 75 years that Freedom House has contributed to getting young people. And we know that education is a key indicator of economic development, of decrease of experiences of violence, of being positive contributors to our society. And so everything at the Freedom House, that's why it's so easy, just to come, yes, relationship, but I love what goes on there. It's nothing for me to be there when I can. And, a couple of things have changed. But Charmaine, I like you say, when you call, I'm doing my best to be there as best as I can. And I will definitely be there Thursday. And so, folks, one of the main reasons, one is to make you aware. I mean, if you're in Boston and been here for more than 2 years, I don't see how you not know about the Freedom House. But one, to make you aware of what they're doing, but also make you aware of the event that is going on this Thursday evening. And Freedom House is celebrating 75 years of impact. And also you have the ability at the link, that is in the comments. This link right above here is in the comments. If you cannot attend, donate the tickets to someone. If you just want to donate to support this work, you can do so. And it is vitally important. And I keep saying it. I don't say it as much. Maybe, Charmaine, we can do some checking at some point about the status of, our Black students. But we haven't seen the full impact of COVID on our young people yet. This generation, they're getting ready to hit the elementary, and some of the middle are getting ready to hit, if not some have already hit high school. And it's going to be very different getting them through the process of going away to college. And anyway, Charmaine, we'll have to talk about that at some other point, because the impact of COVID, we haven't seen it, fully yet. So, folks, we're a little bit over time. But I thought it was so important to hear from our young people, to hear from the staff, and then also our ED this morning about why the significance of 75 years is so important. So what I want to do is, Charmaine, give us a little bit of a closing word, and Malcolm and Ashley, if you don't mind, I'm going to let Kevin, our student or junior facilitator, junior, what if I should know all the positions at Freedom House by now? Junior counselor, am I right?
Junior coach.
Junior coach.
Junior coach.
Yep.
So Charmaine, 30 seconds of closing words, and Kevin, 30 seconds of closing words. Charmaine first.
I'll pass it to Kevin. To be totally honest with you, I've said a lot. So I'm gonna pass it. I'm gonna
Yes,
pass
ma'am.
it to our youth to
Okay.
hear his voice.
Kevin's going to close us out, everyone. And after that, I'm going to let our guests go and give some commentary. But Malcolm, Ashley, Charmaine, as always, thank you for being here. Kevin, what if you could get before students? Let's keep it to students. If you could get before students that may listen right now, how important is it for them to center their education and then take advantage of what the Freedom House offers?
I would tell them to, one, come to Freedom House just because with the staff and everybody, they're here to listen, and then they're gonna hold you accountable to your goals and whatever things that you want to achieve and like set your mind to, because they're gonna hold you accountable. They're gonna make sure that you're pursuing and keeping up with them. And yeah.
Okay. Charmaine, before we go, last thing, my mother's on Instagram talking about, I did a Christmas skit at 6 years old at the Freedom House.
I believe it. For
I'm
real.
53. And my mother just said she did a skit at 6.
That
You do the math.
auditorium, man.
You do the math. All right. This is Charmaine. I'm looking forward to Thursday. Now, can we can wear sneakers as long as we dress it up, right?
Of course.
Okay. All right. Just making sure, because you know this new sneaker ball trend is going on. So
Yeah.
all right. And Angelina and she gonna sing y'all socks off. And I hope she kicks her shoes off and then it's a wrap. All right. Thank you all for being with us this morning. And we will see you guys on Thursday. Charmaine, I'll go ahead and just share the link and stuff again with folks before I go. Thank all of you for being here. And we'll see you guys on Thursday. Got you, sis. Absolutely. Thank you all. Folks, I hope that you enjoyed, not so much just enjoyed, but got more information about the great work that's going on at Freedom House with the young people, as well as Miss Charmaine and others. And so don't forget this Thursday evening at, hold on, where is it? Before I get in trouble. Thursday evening, 6 p.m. at 1 Seaport Lane. Let me just see what 1 Seaport Lane is. It doesn't give the name of the it's 1 Seaport Lane. Go get your tickets and that's how you'll find out where to go. And I meant to put this up, but shout out to the Freedom House for always keeping me in their swag. 75 years they're celebrating this Thursday night, so make sure you plan to go. Said a few minutes ago that education is a part of increasing wealth and also a deterrent to issues of violence and whatnot. Someone else was killed in our city last night. And we're in the process of y'all know, the emails and the texts. It's just to a point now where it's almost becoming disrespectful in the manner in which some of the leadership that moves in this space refuses to engage. So the mayor has came on and answered questions and been accountable. So I'm y'all know. That being said, if you are impacted by issues of violence and trauma, or you're around people that they need support, you can call 311 and ask for information about trauma services that are available to you. And when you hear about hearings and things being discussed, or if a survey that just may happen to go out about the impact and what the needs are of the community, answer it, share it, and spread it. Haven't used this hashtag in a while, and it's frustrating but we need to know. And I'll leave that right there. That being said, UCB members is 10:59. I'm going to hold on for about a minute and a half so you all can get your 90 minutes at 11:01. But let's definitely end on a good note. Let me see what music I can play for y'all this morning before we get ready to get off of here. I thought I had videos in here. Jesus, maybe not. All right. Maybe not. I will hold on for a couple more seconds to make sure you all get your hour and a half for your points for watching Java with Jimmy. It's 11 o'clock on the dot. So, Miss Teresa, looks are deceiving. I'm a little tired. Have a very interesting day today with the Bruce Boland building at 5 o'clock at the O'Brien African American Center for African American Center, which we used to call it Northeastern. There at 6 o'clock. So it's a very interesting day. And then tomorrow, tomorrow morning, we are going to speak with Secretary Tutwiler from the state of Massachusetts. Got to chat with him a little bit, and we're going to talk a little bit about the ballot, the MCAS ballot question. He has a very interesting perspective. So I encourage you to tune in tomorrow at 10 a.m. And then tomorrow, we're there are 2 cups of Java tomorrow at 12 noon. We're going to speak with our partner, Boston Waterfront Coalition for Waterfront Wednesdays. And they're going to be with us tomorrow at 12 noon. So, and also I do need to acknowledge, thank you, Miss Teresa and Ma. I will take a nap, despite what Miss Teresa was saying. I need one. It's the lighting. We want to acknowledge the transition of Sissy Houston. You know, I was talking to Nia yesterday, and that legacy of that Houston voice is gone. You know, all 3 of them are together: Bobby, Christina, Whitney, and Sissy. They're all together now. And I had the thought as some of us church folk, they're in that heavenly choir, singing together now. But we just wanted to acknowledge that. And also just name it's an impact on those that appreciate and love music, and Sissy Houston and Whitney Houston. That legacy is not with us anymore. And that's interesting. So I'm going to get ready to go. And we will see you guys on tomorrow at 10 a.m. with Secretary Tutwiler. And that's it. All right. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you for being with us. Don't forget yesterday's show with the information about Breast Cancer Awareness Month. If you know someone, and don't forget, we said not just if they get diagnosed. We want to make sure that I talked about that bag. Have that bag of information available in case someone receives a diagnosis. You have it readily available to share with them. All right. Thank you all for being here this morning, and we'll see you tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Have a great day.